Hello and welcome back to another video on Asia Now. Today I'll tell you about the divorce bill that passed in the Philippines. What does it actually mean? What are the prerequisites? We'll read some comments about how people feel about the bill in the Philippines. And at the end, I'll go ahead and tell you guys my personal opinions on the matter. Ever since I came to the Philippines, I kept hearing how foreigners cannot get divorced in the Philippines. And it's the only country in the world that divorce is illegal. Actually, the second country because the Vatican, but I don't personally count the Vatican as a whole country, even though they are. Anyway, that's beside the point. The Philippines is one of two countries, technically, that divorce is illegal, but recently, a new bill has passed the final reading. Before I tell you all the details, take a quick second, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It's completely free and helps me motivate to grow this channel, continue making these videos. Here are the full details about the new divorce bill. The House of Representatives on Wednesday approved on final reading a bill that legalizes absolute divorce based on limited grounds and well-defined judicial process. House Bill 9349, which underwent a long interpolation process and was resent back to its committee before making it to plenary, clinched third reading approval with a slim margin of 126 votes to 109 votes, with 20 not voting. This is the second time that a measure legalizing divorce was passed by the House, the first time being in 2018 during the 17th Congress, after which eventually died upon reaching the Senate. The absolute divorce bill approved by the House, I quote, does not recognize no-fault quickie, drive-through, or email divorces, said the rep. Under the measure, there are limited and reasonable grounds for divorce, and a petition will have to undergo judicial scrutiny in order to prevent abuse and collusion of the parties, which is penalized, Legman said. Concerns from religious groups that allowing divorce would harm marriages, Langman maintained that divorce is not for everybody. Quote, it is for those who have just and valid causes to be adjudicated by the proper court. It is not an alternative remedy and will not apply to those overwhelmingly majority of Filipinos married couples who have enduring and loving marriages, the lawmaker said. Like other progressive bills, measures introducing divorce in the Philippines often trigger an extreme opposition from conservative groups and lawmakers who have flagged its potential negative impact on families. But rights groups have also argued the lack of accessibility to options to dissolve marriages disproportionately harms victim survivors of domestic abuse and their children. During the deliberations of the absolute divorce bill, lawmakers supportive of the measure pointed out that the current available options for couples to separate, such as annulment, remain expensive and thus inaccessible. So what are the features of this measure? House Bill 9349 sets a number of requirements and legal steps for a couple to successfully file a petition for absolute divorce. Among others, it only allows for absolute divorce after the fact of a broken marriage is established. Langman said the divorce petition will undergo a judicial process where proof of cause for divorce is established and that the marriage has completely collapsed without any possibility of reconciliation. The grounds for the absolute divorce under House Bill 9349 are as follows. 1. Based on legal separation grounds under Article 55 of the Family Code with modifications. 2. Based on annulment of marriage under the same. 3. Separation in fact for at least 5 years at the time of filing for divorce with reconciliation highly improbable. Psychological incapacity of either spouse, whether it existed at the time of marriage or developed after. One spouse undergoing sex reassignment surgery or transitioning from one sex to another. Whoa, I'm glad they put that in. 6. Irreconcilable differences. 7. Other forms of domestic or marital abuse. The bill provides for a cooling off period of 60 days after the filing of the divorce petition, where the judge will exert earnest efforts to reconcile the parties. The measure also requires the public prosecutor to investigate and assure that there is no collusion or coercion behind the filing of the divorce petition. The House bill also allows parties to reconcile and have their petition dismissed even after the issuance of an absolute divorce decree. The Philippines is one of two countries in the world that does not allow couples to divorce, the other one being the Vatican, the seat of the Roman Catholic Church. With the House's approval of the divorce bill, it will now be sent to the Senate for deliberation, most of whom are opposed to the measure. Okay, so first of all, I had no idea how poor my reading skills were. Anyways, that's beside the point. Leave your comments down below. I'd love to know what you think so far about this bill. And let me know whether you think it's going to pass and it become actual law, or do you think they're going to go ahead and dissolve this and forget about it in the Senate? Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some comments of what some Filipino and other people think about this bill before I tell you guys my personal thoughts. Someone says, it's a yes for me. Why stay when both are not happy? Children get affected, yes, but they will understand eventually, because by separation via divorce is the best thing to do when everything with regards to the commitment of both parties going nowhere. A good point made there. Yes, of course, kids are going to be affected by divorce. Luckily, I never experienced that, but I know a lot of people around me in Canada growing up, their parents were divorced, and you can see the trauma it causes the children. But I would also like to think that eventually they probably grow up and understand why it happened, although that will probably have some long-lasting effects on it. But on the other hand, imagine your parents stay together even though they don't love each other anymore. Maybe the dad's abusive, maybe the mom is abusive emotionally, who knows? That can also affect the child as well. So it doesn't necessarily guarantee a child's growth if parents actually stay together. Here's the next comment. Yes, it's long overdue to legalize divorce here in the Philippines. Please, the law to legalize divorce must be free, or at least affordable to people who are marginalized in our society. Another excellent point that I never had even thought about until recently after reading this article, the divorce costs a lot of money, especially when lawyers get involved, when there's assets and property and maybe some money or whatever that needs to be divided into two people, what you brought into the relationship. I don't know where that goes with all the financial stuff, but lawyers are expensive. So I'm glad this person mentioned it needs to be free or at least affordable, especially in the Philippines where many people still live in poverty, making about $10 to $15 a day, depending on where they live. So, not being able to pay for divorce can also be a deterrent to get divorced. So that's a great point. So hopefully the government can go ahead and factor that into their decision. Marriage has become identified with pleasure, not with love. Once the pleasure ceases, love ceases. Divorce, infidelity, planned unparenthood, contraception, abortion, invalid marriages are so many travesties and heresies against love. And whatever is the enemy of love is the enemy of life and happiness. Said by Van Fulton J. Sheen. Some very strong opinion there. A lot of things actually make sense in what that person said. I'm going to tell you guys my personal thoughts at the end of this, but let's go on to our next comment first. Yes, no point staying in a loveless marriage. If your concern is a division of assets, be smart and prioritize the prenuptial agreement over the prenuptial photo shoot. Excellent point. Again, when you're in love, you fail to see what could possibly go wrong in the future, and having a prenup is extremely important. I know if I were to get married, I most likely will have a prenup. Lastly, someone says, yes, this law is for all the abusive, toxic, and irreparable marriages only. Divorce is also a human right. Nobody has the right to deny this human right to anyone who needs it. I'm a Catholic, and I also want people to understand the separation of church and state. And if our churches keep on meddling in our state's affairs, then our churches should probably have to and must start paying taxes. Ooh, some excellent points made there. And let me go ahead and wrap this up with my personal opinion. It's difficult for me to really have much of a say since I am single, I'm not married, and but I think I would be definitely for divorce. The one thing that kind of gets on my mind is like I'm starting to realize as I get older the importance of having a strong family and having a strong father figure in the family. I think, in the West, especially Canada, US, the divorce rates are so high, and when you do some research and look into a lot of these problems come from single mothers not having a strong father figure in the families. Now, I don't want to get into all that, but I also believe that every person should have the right to get out of a toxic relationship, an abusive marriage. It's simply if you just lost interest in the person. Like, why go through all that? The only thing that I would say is if you both have very strong religious opinions, right? If you're doing it for God. But then again, I'm not a Catholic, and I know in Islam, I actually don't even really know. But my point is, any God that I believe in should want you to be happy. I think God probably gave you a brain and free will to put to use. And you have a second chance at life where you can probably be happier, therefore put better and more positive things out in the world. I'm kind of on the fence about it, but if I had to choose yes or no personally at this stage of my life, I'll probably go ahead and say yes. Because why force somebody to stay in a marriage where you can go ahead and just keep your own marriage and people can do what they want? But yeah, leave your thoughts down below. I'd love to know from you. What do you think? This is going to be one of those topics that's going to be very divisive. So don't get offended. Don't get all whatever on these comment sections, whatever. Feel free, whatever you want to say. But if somebody has a different opinion, so be it. People are not always going to be the same. And if you enjoyed this video, take a second, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I want to make more videos about different things around the Philippines and Southeast Asia, of course, and just my personal opinions. And thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, a lot of you guys appreciate the news video I did yesterday for the past week's recap. If you haven't seen that one, so go ahead and check it out right here. I'm going to be sure to put the link there as well in the comment section and in the bio. And that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.